Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Lamont, and I am your hostess of Ladies Get Your Prance On. And each week, I bring an exciting woman entrepreneur that comes and shares her tips, her tools, her techniques, and also what's going on in her life. And as you can see behind me, we are going to be talking with Caren Glasser about the little white lie. Welcome, Caren.
Hey, Lisa. So happy to be here. That is so great that you're sitting in front of what you're sitting in front of.
I know. I'm kind of feeling like more like this person today on the outside, but I'm also feeling a little bit because I'm moving this week. Like I'm in the process of moving. And so I'm feeling more like this today. So
I get it. I totally get it. I'm kind of feeling like that too. So I don't have a moving excuse. So I don't know what my excuse is.
There's something that always pops up. So before we get into the little white lie, I am so excited because I've been wanting to have you on my show because you were a special guest on one of my favorite shows called Below Deck Mediterranean. Yeah. And so when I saw you last year, I'm like, oh my God, it's Caren. So could you just kind of do a little highlight about how did you end up being on the show and what has followed since being on the show? Because a lot has been going on since then.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those, I got a call from a good friend of mine, Kathy Stover, who had been invited to be on the show. And she said, would you like to go on a reality show? My first thought was absolutely not. Who wants to be on a reality show? But she told me a little bit about it. And I was actually a little bit embarrassed to say that I knew what the show was, Below Deck. I had done some serious binge watching on it on an airplane coming home from somewhere. And I knew what the show was, which again made me say, maybe not, maybe I shouldn't do that. But as we talked about it, we realized, both of us started to talk about the benefits of doing something like this. You cannot pay for that kind of publicity.
No.
Being on a show that is shown over and over and over again in repeats. And in fact, the show's going to, as we were talking before we got on today, second season for Below Deck Mediterranean starts in a couple of weeks. And it was something I couldn't pass up. And I decided if I was going to do something like this, I was going to figure out how to leverage it because I'm about leveraging opportunities. And in my case, because I'm known as the digital diva, I thought, okay, how can I leverage this? And it was really basically how I live my life. I can work from anywhere because I am digitally sound, so to speak. Yeah. So I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on this show with these really great gals, and whatever happens is going to happen. I'm going to behave myself because whatever goes on the show, and it's forever. And from that point on, I ended up interviewing multiple people from the cast. It's gotten a tremendous amount of visibility because I leveraged their names, their search engine optimization, all that stuff. And in fact, I was invited to come back on this next season. Due to scheduling things and other things that were going on, it didn't happen. But they did ask me to interview the crew of this particular season. So how exciting is that?
Yes, and one thing I want to add, share who the captain is this season because I've been watching the show since the get-go. I'm a big fan of Below Deck. It's just a fun show.
It is. It's a guilty pleasure, right? It's a total guilty pleasure. Yep. So the reason why I was so intrigued, and the first person I told them I wanted to interview was the captain. It's a woman. The very first time they'd had a woman captain on. Her name is Sandra Yon. Yeah. And she's a woman of a certain age.
Yes.
Right. And she's been doing this for like 27 years. And so I thought, what better than to highlight and to spotlight a woman who is doing something that generally we think is a man's job or a man's world. Yep. And it's not. And so how exciting is that? So woman captain, very cool.
That is so cool, which leads us over to the reason why I really wanted to have you on the show, Below Deck too. I'm a big fan, but the little white lie. And so you are wearing the little white lie. Yes. How did this idea come to you to begin with? Because I love the title. It's very captivating.
Well, the title kind of was hit or miss. We just started throwing out names to figure out what would be something clever that would be memorable. But the whole concept behind The Little White Lie happened when I turned 60 last November. I'd been coloring my hair for 30 years because this is the color I started to go when I turned 30. My mother is 81 years old, is actually whiter than this. And I thought at 30 years old, how got to color my hair. That's what we were being told in the media. We're being told by our peers. We're being told by our parents. We're being told by the workplace that white hair equals you're too old to do the job. Yeah. And so I bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. I started getting my hair colored. And because my hair grows as fast as it did, because I started doing this in November, and we're not that many months into the new year, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this every 3 weeks. Lisa, I went to my hairdresser every 3 weeks. I would sit there in the chair for a couple of hours. She would color my hair to the natural, unnatural color that it was. Yeah. And 2 days afterwards, the white would start growing in again. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I can't keep doing this. And my hairdresser says, you say this every 3 weeks. You can't keep doing this. And at 60, I said, I'm done. That's it. So I thought, what better way to do this than in front of my audience that I have been sitting in front of for the past 5 years doing my live web TV shows. And so I decided to do it in a very public way. And it's been a blast. I have to tell you, it has been absolutely a blast. I'm loving this. Totally loving this.
Oh, you have gotten so much attention as a result. I mean, and you talk about doing broadcasts for over, for 5 years. And for a lot of people, just in the last year, they're jumping on the video, myself included. I was doing a podcast for 5 years. And so just last summer, I changed over to video. But you were a pioneer of doing.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm a first adopter. I'm a kind of a geek about all things technology. And I've been streaming live, believe it or not, since the early 90s. But back in those days when we streamed live, it was the big, huge computers that were bouncing off of satellites that would bounce off another satellite. I mean, it was expensive, and people didn't get it. Up until maybe a year ago, I don't think they got this. They didn't understand the value of putting video online so people can get to know you, the person, rather than a bunch of static text or a static picture. Yeah. So I'm loving this. First of all, congratulations for being online. I think it's a game changer. It's a game changer because video shows up first in search engines, number one. That's probably the most important reason that I explain to individuals, and they say, well, I don't like the way I look on camera, and I go snap out of it. You look exactly how you look. It's your mindset, not the audience's mindset. And I mean, what's been your experience, Lisa, since you started to go?
First of all, I didn't know that the video bumped you up in the search engine. So that's news for me. And so for the other people that are watching, the reason that I wanted to change over from podcast to video is because, first of all, I wanted the prancing kittens, because that's how I started it for my prancing kitten community, which are women supporting women. And I wanted them to be able to see my guests, because yes, you have a great voice. Yes, you have a great, the presence comes through the audio, but once people could see you, like, how could I be talking to you right now about the little white lie? We could be describing, I could be saying you have, a 3 to 4 to 5 inch grow out going on right now. What has that been for you? Describing, but for people to see you and see your energy, that makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. It's the conversation model. I mean, they say that only 7% are the words, the actual words. The rest of it is your mannerisms. I talk with my hands. I spend most of my time when I'm on an interview, I sit there sitting on my hands because, us Jews and Italians, I think we do that. But, they get to know my personality. Now, I may not be for everybody, and it's really quick to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
They're either going to resonate with me or resonate with you or not. And that's okay, because I don't need to resonate with everybody, and I don't need to be the person for everyone. There is plenty of space. I know you believe this as well. We live in the ocean, the blue ocean of abundancy. We do not live in the red sea of scarcity. No. There is enough business, enough people, enough relationships for all of us if we just show up as ourselves.
Absolutely. And no one is going to do your show the way you do your show. Right. We're gonna talk a little bit about your show and let people find you. But there's enough for everybody. Every time I hear another entrepreneur, especially women, because that's my target audience, is when they do their own show, I encourage them. I don't like going, oh, you're going to try to compete. There is no competition. It's like you said, it's all in your head. There's no one that's going to be Caren. There's no one that's going to be Lisa. There's no one that's going to be anybody else. And that's such a great point that you bring up. So absolutely.
Yeah, it's a different C word. It's a different C word. It's collaboration rather than competition.
Yes.
There's nothing to say that what I do and what you do is not a good synergy and a great mix. And I can help you and you can help me. And in the end, it's a win-win. And that's what it's all about, is showing up in the spirit of give first.
It is. And I've been on your show. I've been a guest on your show, and I had a great time. And it was interesting for me, from my point, being the guest. I was so much more nervous than being the hostess like this. I'm just like, it's a piece of cake. But being a guest, do you feel the same thing when you're a guest? Because you've been on several shows. I've seen you as a guest.
Maybe in the beginning. I mean, I get the butterflies before I go on anything, including my own shows. I'm a performer. I'm a singer. I've been singing since I was 16 years old. Do the math. It's a long time. I sung at Carnegie Hall, and I've sung in front of thousands of people over and over and over again. And no matter how many times I do it, I get butterflies, because and I feel it's a good thing. It's part of the energy. Yep. And I think so. If you get nervous before you get on a show with somebody, it's your energy, and that energy is going to be beneficial, I think, for the way you're going to come off. At this point, I don't think it's much nerves for me as it is just getting ready for the show and the excitement. And it's those, I call them butterflies, for lack of a better word. It's not really nerves. It's more of a butterfly anticipation kind of thing.
So you touched upon that you sang. Will you talk a little bit about that? Because I found that so fascinating, because I just learned about that recently. So can you share a little bit about your background?
Well, music, I believe that music, ultimately, at the end of the day, music is the most important thing in my life. I believe that music speaks to people that would otherwise not hear your message. You don't have to know the words for music. It's the melody. You're just listening to it. And so for me, I've been singing since I was 16 years old. I was in a small band. We used to do bar mitzvahs, weddings, and divorces. No kidding, we did. And I did that for 10 years, and before I got married. And I would literally travel all across California with the other two guys in the band. In a van, we would go from gig to gig, and I was the singer, and I loved it. I loved it. And in between the weekend gigs, I was teaching music, singing, and all the different things at a Jewish synagogue. And then I was discovered by Disney, and Disney hired me and my brother to do a Disney show when they were celebrating 5 years on the Disney Channel. And he and I went on, and we were highlighted. We like to say ad nauseum. The show aired. Oh my gosh. I want to say, like, it's still airing. Every so often they show it. But basically, you could see me coming and going over and over again. But it was great for visibility. I didn't know that then. I just thought, how cool is this? I'm on Disney, right? And then Rhino Records found me, and Kid Rhino in particular. I'm a children's rock and roll artist, and I sang songs of self-esteem. And I ended up for 10 years after that, traveling the country back and forth, going to zoos, because that's where kids are, going to malls, because that's where kids are. And eventually I was picked to do a concert at Carnegie Hall. And that was the highlight, the pinnacle of my singing career. And when I stopped, I ended up becoming a cantor. I'm a retired clergywoman of the Jewish faith. So my job is like a rabbi, which is the other religious leader. But the rabbi talks, the cantor sings. And I spent 16 years of my life singing and being of service to my congregation, bar mitzvahs, weddings, baby namings. The cool thing about this, Lisa, is that a lot of the people that I met in my children's life when I was singing and they were little kids, they ended up being the people I married when I was at the synagogue.
Oh, wow.
And did their kids' baby namings and then the bar mitzvahs after that. So I have managed somehow to become a part of individuals' life cycles, which is so cool. I mean, just so cool. So that's my singing career. And I still sing. I mean, I still do it. It's just not a job now. It's simply something I like to do.
So who did you admire as a singer growing up? Who was the person that you admired, or person?
The two female singers that come to mind immediately is Linda Ronstadt. She was my idol. I wanted to be Linda Ronstadt. Country rock and roll. That was me. That's all I did. And then Barbra Streisand. I mean, who as a female singer, that's Barbra Streisand. That's who we all love. So those are the two to come to mind. My favorite all-time band is the Eagles. Love the Eagles.
Well, I'm 58, almost 59, so I'm from that same generation. And Linda Ronstadt, oh, she was just incredible. She was one of my favorites too,
Yeah,
growing up.
amazing
And
woman.
I love the Eagles, and it's just so wonderful. Did you ever meet anybody when you were singing that was quote unquote famous?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I have. And some of them are very comfortable in their fame, and some of them are very uncomfortable in their fame. And it's not important. It's not important to name drop, but yes, I've met a lot of celebrities.
Yes.
It's been a very interesting part of the journey because I've met so many celebrities. I sometimes don't even recognize them anymore as celebrities out when I see them. So when somebody will say, oh, I saw such and such, it's like, oh, where? I'm looking right at them, and they're just people. And to me, they're just people.
Thank you for sharing that, because you did have that experience of below deck and being amongst, right, the celebrities, the stars. I would love it if you could share that they are just people. I mean, they just happen to be an actor. They happen to be a singer. And, I've talked to, Joey Garrity. She worked in the Hollywood industry and worked with stars, there. And they are just, people. Some people, their egos might be a little bit different, but they are just absolutely just regular people.
And I think that the ones that have had more than just minimum success, but have really been successful, are those that don't take themselves all that seriously. They realize they're just like everybody else. Their job happens to be that they're in the industry. It just like my job happens to be at this stage, heading a movement called the Little White Lie movement, or I'm a digital diva, just like you are, a psychic, who, by the way, you're awesome.
Thank you.
Lisa did the most amazing tape for me. I was not a believer, and literally, I told you, put me out.
Yes.
Thank you. So, we're all just people, and I think if we get in our own way sometimes, celebrity or not.
Absolutely. So let's get back to the Little White Lie.
Yeah.
The Little White Lie. So I'm going to let people see that. So fill in, what does that look like? How can people find this movement, and who belongs in this movement? Who is the ideal person that would fit into this movement?
Well, originally it started as My Little White Lie. It was just my white hair, but really what it has evolved into, it's being comfortable in our own skin, no matter what age we are, that whatever we feel like on the inside is reflected on the outside, and vice versa. Yes. Whatever we look like on the outside also matches how we feel on the inside. So the movement, which is it started as women, but I've noticed an interesting trend on my lives, because I do these once a week, every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. They're short, they're very sweet. I invite somebody on, and I'm noticing I'm getting a lot of guys on. And it's not because they're coming on to look at pretty ladies or not so pretty ladies. They're getting on because they are facing the same thing. How do they maneuver? How do we all maneuver in this world that we live in as we get older? The media tells us to look one way. The media says you have to dress this way or don't dress that way. Plastic surgery. I mean, look at the picture that's sitting behind you. Obviously one's got all the makeup on and maybe plastic surgery. Who knows what's been done? The other one is an aging woman. And look, I have the wrinkle. That's me, and I think it struck a chord. I really do think it struck a chord, because I'm giving people permission to share the thoughts that maybe before they never would have said out loud. Do you feel invisible? I've had women and men say, ever since I reached a certain age, I feel invisible when I walk on the street. And when you say why, well, my hair is gray. People don't look at me anymore. I don't feel that I fit in. Even I went through that as well when I went to Las Vegas, going to Vegas while I'm going gray. And so I think it struck a chord. It's giving people permission to talk about the things that happen when you get older, whatever age that is. Maybe getting older for you is 40. Or 30. I mean, I know people that go, oh my God, I'm turning 30 and I'm going to die. I'm old. And I just look at them and go, well, I must be dead 3 times over then, because,
Well, I felt old turning 40. I mean, I remember feeling old. And right now today at 58, I feel better at 58 than I did at 40. Mentally, I felt old turning 40 versus I'm excited to turn 60. I'm blessed for each day that I have. The other thing too, I would like you to touch on, I am noticing a trend of women that are having their breast implants removed.
Yeah.
Finding medical issues. You know, we are so controlled of wanting to fit in because the media has just been filling us, our heads full of all this garbage. Like, we got to buy this and do this and have, you know, plastic surgery and these things. And women are saying no now. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? What your thoughts are?
Well, I think it actually, going back to the celebrity thing, I think that we are seeing more and more celebrities of a certain age that are basically saying, I'm like Alicia Keys. She says, I'm not wearing makeup anymore. I'm just not going to wear makeup anymore.
Yeah.
Which for a lot of women, I won't step out of my house unless I don't have makeup on. And here's a woman who's saying it's okay not to wear women's makeup. So we're getting messages, I think, from some of our celebrities. And I'm Helen Mirren, who's 100% white. She's beautiful. The woman is gorgeous. Jamie Lee Curtis. All of these celebrities.
She is one of my favorites. She is she's like one of the first people, you know, women actresses that took action after she did that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't remember the movie.
Die Hard, right? Die Hard? Was it Die Hard?
Something. I don't remember the name, but right after that, because they classified her as a sex symbol, that really bothered her.
Right.
And after that, she said, I'm done. I'm not going to dye my hair. I'm not going to wear makeup. This is who I am. She did not want to be considered a sex symbol. And
Cindy Joseph is another one. She is a makeup artist. Has been a makeup artist all of her life. When she turned 48 or 49, she decided that she was going to stop coloring her hair.
Yeah. And
she went completely gray. And guess what happened within a couple of years of doing that? She was stopped on the street in New York, and she became Dolce & Gabbana, one of their main models.
Yeah. It's a, you know, and I want people to know also, this isn't bashing women who color their hair, because I still color my hair. My hair is exactly like yours, Caren. I may choose at some point to change it, but right now I enjoy it. My daughter happens to be a hairdresser, so she does it for free. So it's just like and mine grows out just as fast. So I want women to know that are watching this.
Yes,
this is us supporting you for whatever it is you want to do. If you want to dye your hair purple. You know, I know women in their 50s that are putting purple and turquoise in their hair, and I say go for it. If that's comfortable, then be and do what you want to do.
Oh, absolutely. I want to underscore that again. This is not the message that you have to do X, Y, and Z. It's exactly the opposite. Yes. What we're saying to everyone who's watching and anyone who decides to jump onto the movement along with us is saying, however you want to show up is okay. Just think about why you're doing what you're doing. Are you doing it because somebody told you to do it that way, or because that's exactly how you want to feel? You're still coloring your hair. That's awesome. That's great. I tell people I'm very blessed. I have good genes. I have wrinkles, but I don't have a lot of them. And, you know, so people say, well, it's really easy for you to say you're not going to have Botox, or you're not going to do plastic surgery. Yeah, it's really easy for me to say that. And who knows what I'll say 10 years from now. At 10 years, I'm afraid to go under the knife. Let's be real. That for me, that's the stopping point. I'm not going to do that. And I'm happy with the way I look. But am I saying to anybody else that you shouldn't do it? Absolutely not. You should do whatever it is that you feel represents how you feel on the inside. So that
it is. It's all about in our hearts. And when people, when women stop, and men too, because we all want to fit in, we all want to be accepted. I didn't come out of the closet about being a psychic till last year, because I didn't want people to judge me and my spirituality and my beliefs. And I went, you know what? Just like you, Caren, I'm not the right fit for everyone, and I'm comfortable. But up 2 years ago, I wanted to fit in with everybody. I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted to blend in. I wanted to support everybody. And I just had to come out and say, this is who I am. And if that bothers you, you know, I'm sorry, but it's who I am. And I want women to know that are watching this, it will change your life and it will change your business. I have more business now because people now know what I do. I'm clear about what I do. And being clear about what you do. So Caren, can you share a little bit about what your day job is? Clear.
I don't know. I don't even know what I do these days. Well, I'm known as a digital diva. I love all things technology. So generally what my day job is helping people get visible online, helping people understand the technology that's out there. As I said, I started live streaming in the 90s when you had to pay a lot of money to do it. Now in 2017, there are a tremendous amount of free platforms that are out there that you can stream yourself live, get yourself in front of your audience. So I help take the fear out of it. I help explain the difference between an operating system and a browser. I've actually been on calls with men and women who don't even know those basics. And so I am very patient when it comes to things like that. I approach it from, no, you're not stupid. You just haven't done it yet. So let's teach you so that you get comfortable and get rid of the fear. So that's the arena that I play in, just helping people get visible. But really, for the most part, I just use what I do. And I'm launching the movement right now. So I'm not being, not answering the question, but it's right now that what I'm really doing in my day job is getting these Facebook Lives out every week and interviewing people and answering questions, talking to the people that are following at this point. So that's my day job actually at this point.
I love it. So how can they find your movement and check it out and see if they want to be part of it? How can they find you?
Couple of things. They can go to thelittlewhitelie.com. You can see all the different blog posts that I've done on the shows, or go into Facebook and go look me up, Caren Glasser. It's Caren with a C. And all of my posts are public. So I do these lives every week. You can go and you get an announcement and then just click the reminder and then come in and communicate, because we'll put your comments right on the screen. We'll actually bring you into the conversation, which I think is really, really important, because it's not about me. It's not about me.
So when you talk about going live for the people, there's a lot of women who are thinking about doing Facebook Live. Can you talk a little bit about that for people who are new and how to do that?
Absolutely. So if we're talking specifically, you're a woman entrepreneurial woman who maybe you have a small business and you want to get that visibility. First of all, think about Facebook Live not as something that you're going to monetize. Think about Facebook Live as something that you're going to use to market yourself for more visibility, and approach it that way, because what I'm seeing right now is so many people are jumping into this technology and they get on and the question I get, well, how do you monetize this? How do you make money doing this? Well, you don't make money doing the lives. What you do is you market yourself doing the lives that pushes them off to wherever you want to send them, to your call to actions. So number one, if you're on Facebook, you can do a live. Pick up your phone, go to do a status on your Facebook, and there's a button that says go live. Push the go live button. It's that easy. Go live. If you don't want to use your phone, there are multiple programs out there. One that I love that I use all the time is called BeLive.tv, BeLive.tv, and it allows me to broadcast from my desktop. For me, that's a game changer, because if you don't have a good internet connection and you're on your cell, your phone, and you're walking around, your signal is going to come in and out. If you're on your desktop and you're fortunate enough to have a plug-in landline, literally plug your internet in, you're going to have a really good connection. And you can interview people on this platform. And it's free, guys. It's absolutely free right now. And I believe it's going to be free till the end of this year. So go check it out. Go try this out. It's got the capability of doing your own live, having somebody on with you, or doing a talk show. That's really cool. You can have 10
So you could do it almost like this platform going live.
Yes.
That's great.
You and I should talk. We should talk about that, Lisa.
We should talk about that. Yeah. So, what is one of the mistakes? Because I mean, you have so many friends and followers on Facebook, and you've seen people. Is there not necessarily a mistake, but do you see some things that new people, do they tend to talk too long? Is there like a time limit, or should you have a set subject?
There is no right answer to that question. I tend to do short lives only because I have the attention span of a flea. So if I'm getting bored, I just assume that everybody else is bored. So I tend to get in and out within no more than 15 minutes when I'm doing a live.
Okay.
But the most important thing that I think that people are forgetting is that it's what's in it for your audience, not for you. What's in it for them? Why should they join you? What is your content about? Are you giving or are you selling? I don't know. I'm sure you're watching a lot of lives. They're popping up all over the place. Everybody and their uncle is doing a live now, which is great. Yep. I mean, that's fine. But remember, if we oversaturate the market and if we put too much crap out,
Yes.
People are going to stop coming and watching you. So I think my guidelines would be, I ask one question each week. So decide what it is you want to talk about and stay on topic. Meaning, it doesn't mean you can't ask other questions, but stay on topic. Bring it in, because that's the question you're asking your audience. You're going to ask the audience the same question you're asking your guest, or the same question you're going to answer. And then tell them, I want you to respond in the comments. I'm going to answer your comments, and then go and respond to every single comment that went in after the show. So there's a process. It's not just, let's just go live and then walk away and hope it does something. It won't. You have to build your tribe. And the way you build your tribe is by being consistent, by asking a particular question, whatever that question is, keeping it short and sweet, letting people know, and then let your tribe promote you. And that's how I'm growing, Lisa. Yes. It's not just me, it's my tribe that's promoting me. You know, and that's kind of cool for me, because you know, I've always been the person from behind that supports other people. So I've got people now that are literally supporting me, and that's so new for me, and it makes me feel a little vulnerable, actually. But I think that has made the difference in what I'm doing these days, is that I'm allowing people to support me.
Yeah. I want people to know, that may not know Caren yet, but they're going to now, is I have really seen you become active like the last 6 months. You've like burst out of the seams. I've known you for a couple of years, but it's like the last 6 months, you're everywhere. And I'm like, I've got to get her on the show before I can't access you anymore, because you are so busy. So it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Speaking of winding down, I can't believe how fast the time has gone. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we close the show? Is there any message or anything you'd like to say to the people?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Lisa, for having me on. And I want to thank, the audience. This is what I say all the time. We know that you have a choice as to where you spend your time. And I'm happy that you chose to spend it with us today. There's so much noise out there. So thank you for going through all the noise and finding us and finding me and finding Lisa. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you, Lisa. I love what you're doing. And thank you for inviting me to be in front of all of your crowd. So thanks.
I love having you on the show. Thank you so much. And I will have all your contact information attached to the show too. Once again, thelittlewhitelie.com is your website. They can learn more. So thank you, Caren. Thank you, everybody. And we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.